Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Today's video is going to be all about running through my monthly beauty favorites. It's that time again, pretty straightforward, so let's go ahead and dive in. First, starting with some skin/body care, just one of these in here for the month, but this is a new cleanser that I got from Mario Badescu. In my 2017 favorites, I had talked about an exfoliating soap bar, kind of, called a Snarky Bar from this brand called Perfectly Posh, but as a lot of you guys said in the comments of that video, it's being discontinued. So you gave me a ton of alternatives, not all of them physical exfoliants. Obviously, this is one of them. It's their AHA Botanical Body Soap. And in addition to having some KP on my arms, I noticed that when I work, the more I work out, I get breakouts on my chest and back. And so I've just been looking for some products to combat that. And in finding this, first of all, Mario Badescu is like a really affordable brand, which I love. You get all this product, and here I am only a small fraction of the way through, and I've been using this for a month and a half at this point, and it really is effective. Like it's cut way down on the breakouts on my chest. I still have a few on, like kind of around my shoulders, which makes me think it might be a little more hair care related, but working through it, it's getting better, and I attribute it to incorporating this into my daily routine, so I've really been liking that. Another new change this month has been foundation, and typically I have a pretty rock solid foundation routine because I like to think about how I'm going to change up the rest of my face, whether it's eyes, lips, cheeks, you name it. I tend to keep my foundation and base the same, but I've been changing things up this month. First up is the foundation. I have been loving the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation, and this actually comes from a recommendation from a couple of you guys. Last month I had talked about breakouts, kind of struggling with some breakouts, when I hadn't normally. My skincare typically has been taking care of that, and it's gone beyond like the normal hormonal patterns where it's on the chin, although you see, I still have them on my chin, but it was like all over my face. I mean, there really was just no rhyme or reason to it, couldn't figure it out, and a couple of you guys had said, hey, maybe consider switching from the Huda Beauty foundation because some people had experienced issues with that too. And I thought, I'll be honest, I did not heed your advice immediately. I only have switched this for like the past week and a half, I will say. But ever since switching and not changing anything else up in my skincare routine, it's made a difference. So I will continue to use the Fenty Beauty, and maybe I'll go back to the Huda Beauty and find that, it was something else entirely environmental that was triggering those breakouts. But for now, I have found a new favorite in the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. And I like this as well because I've also been getting into a more dewy skin finish. And not that this is outright dewy, I mean, it calls itself a soft matte foundation, but it's a little bit more dewy than the Huda Beauty Faux Filter, so I have been liking that about it as well. The other thing that has changed my makeup game this month has been color correction, which is really nothing. I've talked about it here before on the channel, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it too, but when it comes to covering breakouts, really any kind of discoloration, if you have melasma, if you have under eye circles, discoloration is a great way to cancel that out before you even touch your foundation. And it's gonna allow your foundation to work a lot less hard in covering that up and keep you from overdoing the foundation if you start with color correcting first. It's the last thing I think to do when I have something that's a little bit harder to cover up, but it makes such a difference. And so for that, I've been liking the NYX Color Correcting Concealer Palette, specifically the peach for my under eye area and the green to cancel out the redness in my breakouts. I've just found that once I finally remembered to incorporate it into my makeup routine, it's as simple as just dabbing a couple of dots on that before you apply your foundation, and I've just found it makes all the difference in the world in canceling that color out and just making it so much easier to apply and blend your foundation in over those more difficult spots. I've also changed up my setting powder game. Really, this is like the odd month out. I swear, normally I do not touch my face products, but this month I've been going at it. I think January I talked about rediscovering the Lancome Absolute powder, and I still really like this, but I also mentioned that in rediscovering this through decluttering, I also found what might be a sneaky dupe that in fact is a good dupe. And those are the e.l.f. Mineral Pearls. If you want to watch that video, I will link to it, but I did a dupe or dud, and in any way that I need to use a setting powder, I found that the skin balancing, well actually both the neutral, or is it natural, and skin balancing Mineral Pearls from e.l.f. dupe the Lancome very, very nicely for me. So I apply that all over my face, basically as my setting powder. It keeps my skin illuminated because, like I said, I have been going for a more dewy look lately. But then in using that, both the Lancome and the e.l.f., I have been noticing that as my makeup wears throughout the day, I do notice a little bit of emphasis in my under eye area, whether it's emphasizing discoloration or texture, and I attributed that to the shimmery or like satin texture, the illuminating texture of my setting powder. So rather than putting this all all over. I swapped this for the Fenty Beauty Invisimatte Universal Setting Powder just for my under eyes. I will take the sponge in this and just dab it right in my under eye area, and then I'll go to town on the rest of my face with something more illuminating. But I've just found myself incorporating this more into my everyday routine because I need that matte finish in my under eye area, but love the illuminating texture of the other powders around the rest of my face. And the bonus is that even though I have oily to combo skin, both of these get the job done in setting and extending the life of my makeup, even though these give me more of that lit from within kind of glowy finish, which might seem a little scary and counterintuitive for those of you who have combination or oily skin, but trust me, it's a magical combination. And last up are lips. You might remember me talking about this last month, but I had a bad reaction to what I think was Fenty Gloss Bomb, so I have not touched it since then. And instead I spent probably the rest of January and pretty much all of February nursing my lips back to health. It hasn't been until like the last week and a half to 2 weeks that my lips have really been up to using really anything other than an ultra hydrating and nourishing lip treatment. But in those 2 weeks, I have gone back to my well-loved lip colors, specifically those that might be a little more challenging to use on dry, flaky lips like I had before. So I've really been loving my Smashbox Always On liquid lipstick, specifically in the shade Bang Bang. This was my Valentine's Day go-to. And when I say Valentine's, I mean the day of, but also like all the surrounding days, because I feel like when you're in that seasonal mood, it's like red everything everywhere all the time. So really like that. But then I also, when I wanted to take it down a notch, went with the shade Out Loud, which is, you know, I've been loving the burnt orange. This is the Urban Decay Petite Heat palette. So to complement that, any other combination of those colors I might have worn throughout the month, I've been loving the shade Out Loud because it complements that with that gorgeous, but still subtle burnt orange on the lips. Love these two. And then I've also been loving this MAC Cream Sheen Glass. Unfortunately, I think this is limited edition. My mom actually got me this in a holiday set for Christmas, and I recently pulled it out as the shade Winter Warmer, and it's just for me. It is my go-to shade when I have maybe a more bold eye look on, and I just want something that it's a Your Lips with Butter gloss kind of color, and then it has a hint of goldy, shimmery goodness in it. Perfect. It's just such a go-to for me. It was so easy for me to put this on, throw it in my bag, and it's good to go, or to apply wherever as I'm out and about, even if I don't have a mirror. So I've been loving that too. So that is it for me for the month of February, all of my beauty favorites. I would love to hear about yours down in the comments below as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.